What's up, guys? It's Chris here to give some predictions for UFC 127 going down this Saturday night. Gotta say, not all that excited for this card. I've been watching UFC for the longest, and I've ordered, I think, just about every pay per view except for maybe one or two since they started re-airing them, or I've seen every pay per view, um, since they started re-airing them. I think UFC 40, Ortiz versus Shamrock. Always get together with people to watch them. Occasionally, when I can, I'll just order them on my own. I'll bite the bullet and pay that $45 or whatever the cost is. But this is probably the first time in longer than I can recall. I honestly can't recall the last time, but that I'm not going to order a UFC pay-per-view. Um, Now, in full disclosure, I have said in the past numerous times that the UFC events that I least look forward to, sometimes end up being the most exciting, most entertaining. Whereas the events that have a really strong lineup, like UFC 126, for example, don't always pan out. 126 was a stacked card, but I don't think by any stretch it was a memorable event, other than Silva's kick of Vitor Belfort. So this could turn out to be a really good event. But regardless, I'm not going to order it. Now, I'll probably watch it. I'm going to find a means to watch it one way or the other. I'll go to a bar or something. I'll watch it. But just not that looking forward to it, on paper. I kind of feel bad for the Australian, England, Germany crowds. They get UFC events, but the cards are usually pretty lackluster. You know, they're just not all that stacked. I guess they're so hungry for MMA that they'll pretty much watch anything, or attend anything. But I just think they don't get the best events, you know, from UFC and Zuffa. That said, I'm not even going to talk about the undercard. In all honesty, there's no fights on the undercard I really have an interest in. They may turn out to be some good bouts, but looking at the names and the matchups, just nothing of interest to me personally. So we'll start with the pay-per-view portion of the card. First fight of the night, I believe, is Ross Pearce and Spencer Fisher. Ross coming off his first fight in the UFC to Cole Miller, first loss. Spencer Fisher coming off a win. Should be a good bout, possibly fight of the night. Both guys kind of like to stand and trade. Spencer Fisher's got a lot of wear and tear, I think. Cut's kind of easy. Neither guys are really... I guess Ross Pearson is more of a finisher than Spencer Fisher is with the strikes, but I expect this fight to go to distance. I think it'll be exciting, entertaining, but I'll go with Ross Pearson to win this one. Just think he's a little more closer to his prime than Spencer's, but good bout. Could go either way. Next up, you got... This is actually the one fight I was looking forward to. It was originally scheduled to be Chris Lytle versus Carlos Condit. Condit, one of my current favorite fighters in mixed martial arts, unfortunately got injured, had to pull out, so now his replacement is Brian Ebersol, a fighter who's making his UFC debut, 46 wins, 14 losses. Guy's got a huge record, got a lot of fights. But if you have that many fights, you've never been in the UFC before, maybe it just means you're not UFC quote-unquote caliber. That said, Chris Lytle looked pretty good in his last fight. His rematch where Matt Serra got the revenge win. I favor Lytle. There's no reason not to pick him. If it would have been against Condit, I would have favored Condit, but here, I'll go with Lytle. I really don't even know too much about Ebersol. In fact, he's got a lot of fights, but so does Chris Lytle, and Lytle's got the UFC experience. Lytle's a well-rounded fighter. Who knows how it's going to end, but either way, I think Lights Out gets the win here. Next up, you got George Sotiropoulos taking on Dennis Seaver. Sotiropoulos coming off a very impressive win in his last fight over Joe Lozon. Thought it would be a competitive bout, but Sotiropoulos just, hustled Joe Lozon. Dennis Seaver coming off a win over Andre Winner. I believe that fight was in Germany. Hurt Winner on the feet, finished him off with a choke on the ground. Sotiropoulos has looked really good in his last few fights. Been on a bit of a tear. I think he's one of the top 5 lightweights in the UFC. Well on his way to a title shot if he doesn't get derailed before he gets that opportunity. As for Seaver, solid lightweight fighter. Nothing special. I'd say, middle of the pack type. Stylistic matchup. Seaver's better on the feet with the standing. Probably the stronger fighter. Sotiropoulos is better on the ground. Definitely with the jiu-jitsu game. Sotiropoulos, they're putting him on the card because his fight's in Australia. He fights out of Australia. Fan favorite, local favorite. I think he should win this fight. Seaver's not a one-shot kill kind of guy on the feet. I think Sotiropoulos should eventually be able to get him to the ground. And I think from there, he should be able to make pretty short work of Seaver. Obviously, Seaver got the power, I guess, to knock Soteropoulos out, but I doubt it. Anyone can get knocked out when you're wearing these little gloves, these 4-ounce gloves, but I think Soteropoulos, I put my money on him to win this fight by submission. Co-main event of the night, Michael Bisping taking on Jorge Rivera. Bisping coming off that win over Yoshihiro Akiyama. Looked pretty good in that fight. Akiyama didn't look so good. Good fight, though. Entertaining fight. Jorge Rivera coming off a win over Nate Corey. That's a good win. He battered Corey. But problem is, that fight was over a year ago. I don't know if Jorge's been out with injuries or why he's been out for so long, but he's been out for over a year. He's an older fighter. I believe he's like 36, 37, 38, somewhere around there. Just not good to be out that long, I don't think, as you get on in age as a fighter. Either way, though, I got to favor Michael Bisping. Should be a good stand-up fight. Probably should be a pretty exciting fight, I think. Both guys, I would say their strengths lie in their stand-up. Jorge Rivera, Muay Thai fighter. Bisping more of the traditional boxer. Bisping's definitely got the edge here in speed, athleticism. I think he's got better boxing technique. Rivera, probably maybe a little bit stronger. Hard to say. He's got that old man strength, I think. But Rivera, I think he can get the better of it in the clinch. Hard to say if this fight goes to the ground who has an edge, but I don't see it going there very much. I just think Michael Bisping's going to, use a jab, low kicks. He's pretty good at that as well. Occasional combinations, and just outbox Jorge Rivera to a decision. Could look similar to the Bisping-Chris Lieben fight, but either way, I think Bisping's going to win this one, most likely by decision. Next up, finally, the main event, BJ Penn taking on Jon Fitch for what Dana White has claimed is the #1 contender shot at the welterweight champion, whether that be George St. Pierre or Jake Shields. It's funny because I'm sure Jon Fitch heard that before. He heard that after his last fight. He heard that the winner of his fight against Thiago Alves was going to be for a shot at George St. Pierre. But Fitch won that fight, still didn't get the title shot. Either way, though, did look good in pretty much dominating Thiago Alves in the rematch, beating him for the second time. As for BJ, he looked really good in his last fight. One that I actually picked against him in the rubber match against Matt Hughes. Came back after those disappointing losses to Frank Edgar and just destroyed Matt Hughes, for lack of a better term. He destroyed him. Went out there, knocked him down, and just finished him quick. I mean, I was really surprised the way that fight ended. So does that mean BJ Penn is better off at welterweight than lightweight at this point in his career? Hard to say. As for this fight, though, man, I don't know. BJ Penn, I don't know if this is a great stylistic matchup for him. Both guys that fought George St. Pierre have been dominated by him. But the thing is, Jon Fitch took an ass whooping in the George St. Pierre fight. I mean, he got beat up and beat down, but he survived. He went all 5 rounds, 25 minutes. BJ Penn in the last fight, he took a butt whipping from George St. Pierre as well when they last fought, and wasn't able to go the distance. So it makes me think that Jon Fitch is a little bit more durable. Jon Fitch is definitely naturally the bigger guy here, stronger guy, and I think his style is going to give BJ Penn problems. BJ is much better on the feet. He's a better boxer. Fitch's stand-up has never really come around to a high level. It's never really improved all that much, even though he is a lot better than when he first started his career. But, BJ's a better boxer, plain and simple. On the ground, jiu-jitsu, grappling, BJ's better with the jiu-jitsu, but Fitch is a good wrestler. To my knowledge, he's never been submitted. I know he has one loss. I don't think it's by submission, though. They say his gym, a.k.a., they say he's tap-outable. Seen him in chokes before, not be tapped out. And BJ Penn, I can't recall the last time he submitted, if ever, a guy from his guard or from his back. Usually he subs guys from the top position or he gets rear naked chokes on him. So, I don't really envision him hurting or submitting Jon Fitch unless he hurts him on the feet and catches him on the ground, similar to the first Matt Hughes fight. But I don't see that happening, I think Fitch is just going to play his game, play it safe and smart, take BJ down, work him over there, apply a similar game plan to the one George St. Pierre used in the second fight against BJ Penn, and, use a lot of top control en route to a decision. May not be the most exciting fight or the most entertaining, which, for a main event, you would hope you would have a really exciting main event if the undercard's not all that stacked, but unfortunately, just goes along the line with me saying I'm not looking forward to this event or this fight in particular, even though I do respect both fighters and think they're two of the better fighters in the UFC. But either way, like I said, Jon Fitch by decision. But BJ Penn, of course, can win. I mean, he's a great fighter, all-time great, but I just don't see him winning this one stylistically. Anyways, that's it for now, guys. That's my thoughts. We did break down this card yesterday on Science Points Radio Show. If you want to go back and listen to that, you can. We'll be talking about the results most likely on next Sunday's show. You can always catch it on podcast or on demand. I'll put a link to the show in the information part of the video as usual, as well as a link to my Twitter. If you guys want to check me out on there. That's pretty much it for now. Want to hear your guys' thoughts on the event, though. Are you looking forward to it? Are you going to order it? What about the main event? Are you excited for it? Who do you think is going to win? And yeah, just any other general thoughts you may have. So for now, guys, I don't know. I don't know if we'll be back on Saturday or Sunday to talk about this event afterwards like I usually do or not. But either way, I'm sure you'll be hearing my thoughts on it afterwards, as I will yours most likely. Till then, though, guys, I'm out.